Today we're going to talk about the tomato, and we're starting off at El Guarachito restaurant. Can you see that? Okay, this is Esther, the owner of El Guarachito. Esther, what did you make me?
I make it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the world of Dr. Moses. I'm here with my friend Gary. We are on the shores of a lake somewhere close to Cedar Lake, Michigan. And Gary, as you can see, has grown some fresh tomatoes in his garden. Talk to us, Gary.
Well, it's getting close to the middle of October here in Michigan, and it's the very, very end of the tomato season. I think these are among the very last tomatoes that I'm going to have this summer.
Okay. And so what can we learn about the tomatoes that you have?
Well, I personally love tomatoes. I know a lot of people don't like them.
What do they say about them?
I think the reason that people don't like tomatoes is because they've never had a good one.
Okay.
The ones that you buy in the store, I mean, to me, they just taste kind of pulpy and flavorless, and they're not very juicy. They don't have a good flavor.
I agree.
The ones that I grow myself, that I pick off of the vine ripened, are delicious.
Yeah, so these are homegrown tomatoes from Gary's backyard. This is 100% organic tomato, right?
The only thing that's ever been added to that is rainwater. I
organic.
didn't even water them with the hose this entire summer.
That makes it totally organic.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead. Well, you know what? I'm going to say a couple things too. In the health community, there's a lot of doctors and people, one guy in particular from Loma Linda, who says that tomatoes are bad for your health. Stephen Gundry is his name. As far as I know, he's a good man, and he does have good knowledge. I'm not going to say anything bad about Dr. Gundry. Why? Because I would need to research it a little bit more myself. But what I can tell you, and this is from firsthand experience, is that in my career as being an ER doctor, hospitalist doctor, clinic doctor for the last 20 plus years, I have seen a handful of people above the age of 100. And guess what? If I remember correctly, they all eat tomatoes. Not necessarily like tomatoes day, night, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but they're a part of their diet. And so having the experience myself of talking to and examining people above the age of 100 with a good quality of life who do eat tomatoes, I'm not going to say too many bad things about tomatoes. I mean, does that sound fair?
It sounds fair. And one thing I want to mention about tomatoes is they are a fruit.
Okay.
And one of the classifications for a fruit is it begins as a flower.
Okay.
It's a bud. And tomatoes definitely meet that category, and they also grow on a vine, which makes them a fruit. And my belief is that something that's that pure and organic that grows out of God's green earth, how can that be bad for you? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so I guess...
At least not to me, maybe, but...
I guess that the one thing that we're going to teach and talk about is, I think this is fair to say, first of all, this tomato has a nice aroma. It's a good fresh tomato. So I think organic fruits and vegetables probably are going to have a little bit more flavor. They're going to last a little bit longer in the fridge or just on the counter. They're not going to spoil as quickly. They're going to smell better than non-organic items. And I think that's fair to say. Do you agree?
I think you're going to want to eat it quicker just because it smells and tastes so good. It's not going to sit around very long.
All right. And the nutritional content, in my opinion, of an organic fruit or vegetable is going to be the way that it was intended. You know, you can manufacture different fruits and vegetables to have more of this vitamin or that vitamin. But I think that the old-fashioned ways of doing things and the ways of eating healthy and so forth is what got these people that I've seen who eat these tomatoes to live as long as they did, just by doing things the way that mankind has been doing things for centuries. And with that, I think it's time to eat these. Let's go for it, G. Sweet. Not too sweet. You put salt on these.
A little bit.
Delicious.
Pink sea salt.
Gary, this is right. This feels good.
That's a good tomato.
Dr. Gundry, if you ever do watch this, these tomatoes do taste good.
Can't beat the taste.
All right, take care, people. So, while I'm eating, we're going to talk about the tomato. So I'm in a Mexican restaurant right now, and you can see my food right here. That reddish color actually comes from two things. It comes from tomato and also the chilies that are in the food. But today, the tomato, an amazing fruit. I need to thank my Latin brothers and sisters for introducing the tomato to the world, because the tomato, as far as we know in recorded history, comes to us from somewhere in Chile, Latin America, or some people say Peru, but anyway, Latin America in general is where the tomato comes from. And all the Italian restaurants you've been to, Italian salsa, Italian pasta with the sauce, the ragu, I think ragu means sauce in Italian, is originating from the tomato, which comes to us from Latin America. So, now, the tomato contains a lot of good things. Contrary to what some people say, the tomato is good for you. I do think that there may be a few people out there who are allergic to tomatoes. And if you're allergic to tomatoes, well, of course you can't eat them, right? But for those of us who can, the tomato has a lot of very good vitamins in it. So the average tomato, I don't know, this big maybe, will have maybe 20 to 25% of your daily needs of vitamin A and vitamin C. Quiz question. What does the tomato have more of, vitamin A or vitamin C? The answer is vitamin A. The tomato has more vitamin A than it does vitamin C. Not by much, but anyway. Next little teaching point about the tomato is they're delicious. The tomatoes that Gary and I were eating in the video, purely raw. We put raw tomato on a piece of bread, sprinkled with a little bit of salt. Nothing else. I don't think there's anything else on there. And that's what we ate. They're delicious. Oh, by the way, tomatoes also have lycopene, which is, I'm not going to describe it, it's complicated, but it's a nutrient. Lots of B vitamins, some minerals. There's just so much in a tomato that it's hard to say that a tomato is bad, but I think the safest thing to say is if you're not allergic to tomatoes, don't be afraid to eat them, because they have a lot of good nutrients in them. And that's your teaching point.